In the quiet residential suburbs of Columbus, Ohio, in 2018, countless ordinary American families live a repetitive, trivial, but warm life, and the Cole family was once one of them. Unlike the exaggerated luxury dramas on American television, most middle and working-class families in the American Midwest rely entirely on one or two breadwinners' long hard work to maintain family operation. This is the most authentic social portrait of American suburban grassroots families. No sudden wealth, no privileged background, only persistent labor and trivial life pressures. Ethan Cole worked as a senior construction project coordinator in a local engineering company. His working hours followed the typical blue-collar rhythm of American workers, leaving home at 5 a.m. before dawn every day, rushing to construction sites and project meetings, and returning home at 8 or 9 p.m. after dark. He had no weekend leisure for a long time, and even holidays were often occupied by temporary work arrangements. According to the 2018 U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics data, more than 60% of American blue-collar and grassroots management workers work more than 50 hours a week, sacrificing family accompanying time in exchange for stable family income. Ethan was exactly in this group. He met Sophia at a neighborhood community volunteer activity. At that time, Sophia was a bright and lively young girl with a sweet smile and gentle appearance, which deeply attracted Ethan, who had always been steady and reserved. After a year of sincere pursuit and careful company, the two got married in a simple community church wedding. Ethan had always believed that love lies in long-term responsibility and dedication. After marriage, he poured all his tenderness and patience into his wife, tolerating all her petty willfulness and material desires, thinking that as long as he worked harder and earned more money, he could give his wife and future children a better life. Soon after marriage, their daughter Mia was born. The arrival of the child did not make Sophia settle down as Ethan expected, but instead made her more dissatisfied with the current life. Watching the luxury cars, designer clothes, and high-end beauty salons of other suburban housewives around her, Sophia's vanity expanded rapidly. She hated the cramped ordinary residential house, hated the cheap daily necessities in the supermarket, hated that she had to calculate every expense in life, and even hated Ethan's dull and busy life state. In Sophia's eyes, Ethan's hard work was not responsibility, but incompetence. She often complained and nagged at home. Other people's husbands can accompany their wives and children while earning high income, but you only know working all day long. You never have time for me, and you can't give me the life I want. In fact, Ethan's salary was enough to support the basic life of a family of 3 in the local area, stable and secure, but it could never satisfy Sophia's growing material desire. Facing his wife's continuous complaints and indifference, Ethan never chose to quarrel or blame. He always felt that he owed his wife more company, and he was willing to work harder to make up for the lack of life romance, just to keep the family complete and his wife happy. Chapter 1. All savings for a wife's dream salon. One winter afternoon, Sophia formally put forward her biggest demand to Ethan. She wanted to open a high-end beauty and nail salon in the suburban business district. She told Ethan that opening a salon could not only make her have her own career and free time, but also earn extra high profits, so that the family's life could get rid of the current ordinary state completely. In fact, Sophia had no professional business operation experience, no stable customer resources, and even her beauty skills were only amateur level learned from short-term online courses. But Ethan believed his wife's dream wholeheartedly. At that time, he only had one thought in his mind: as long as it was what Sophia wanted, he would try his best to satisfy her. After careful calculation, the store rent, decoration, equipment purchase, and early operation reserve of the beauty salon required almost all the savings Ethan had accumulated for 8 years since graduation. These savings were his hard-earned money from countless early mornings and late nights, the emergency reserve for the family's future accidents and Mia's growth and education. But without any hesitation, Ethan took out all his savings, went through all the formalities with Sophia, rented a front shop in the bustling suburban business district, completed high-end decoration, purchased professional beauty equipment, and successfully helped Sophia open the Glow and Grace Beauty Salon. What Ethan never knew was that the core reason why Sophia was eager to open a salon was not to run a career, but to have an independent cash income, a free social identity, and a private space to get rid of the trivial family life and Ethan's dullness. The initial operation of the beauty salon was unexpectedly hot, which was completely dependent on Ethan's silent efforts and personal connections. In the American small-scale service industry, especially local community business, personal reputation and interpersonal network are the core factors determining business prosperity, which is a real industry rule different from large chain brands. Ethan had lived and worked in this suburb for many years, and had accumulated good reputation and extensive contacts in the local engineering industry, neighborhood communities, and parent groups. In order to support his wife's business, Ethan took the initiative to promote the salon to all his colleagues, friends, neighbors, and community partners in his spare time. He sincerely recommended Sophia's salon service, helped the salon accumulate the first batch of stable, high-quality customers, and even helped the salon coordinate store inspection, property management, and personnel communication problems with his social experience. Almost all the initial customer flow and word of mouth of the salon came from Ethan's interpersonal resources, while Sophia was only responsible for receiving customers simply and enjoying the profit brought by the business. With the increasing reputation of the salon, the daily income became more and more considerable. Sophia soon earned money that she could never get from ordinary work. She began to wear designer clothes, buy luxury bags, go to high-end parties, and integrate into the extravagant social circle of local business owners' wives. Her attitude towards Ethan became more and more indifferent and arrogant. She gradually disliked her hard-working and plain husband, thinking that Ethan's ordinary work and simple life had become a stain on her glamorous identity. Chapter 2: Vanity and Betrayal Hidden in Glamour. After the beauty salon completely got on the right track, Sophia completely changed her previous life state. She no longer cared about her family and daughter Mia, and even rarely went home on time. During the day, she stayed in the salon to deal with simple business, and in the evening, she frequently attended various cocktail parties, business gatherings, and private dinners in the name of expanding business contacts. In the upper, middle class social circle of the suburbs, she met many wealthy businessmen and successful people. Faced with the extravagant life of spending money like water and romantic sweet words, Sophia completely lost herself. She began to cheat on Ethan secretly, maintaining multiple ambiguous relationships with different people, indulging in late-night parties, wine parties, and luxury consumption, and living a dissolute life completely. She carefully hid all her betrayal and dissolute behaviors. During the day, she was a glamorous female salon owner in front of Ethan, and at night, she indulged in extravagant nightlife outside. She never told Ethan about her real social life, nor did she share the salon's profit income with the family. All the money she earned was used for her own luxury consumption and social entertainment. Ethan was always kept in the dark. He still insisted on going out early and returning late every day, working harder than before. He saw that the salon was booming and thought that his wife's career was successful and the family's life was getting better and better. He felt gratified in his heart, and even took the initiative to reduce his own living expenses, saving money to prepare for Mina's future education and family improvement. He still loved Sophia deeply, tolerated her increasingly indifferent attitude and occasional temper tantrums, and never doubted his wife's loyalty to the family. The only victim of all this was the 2-year-old little Mia. The sensitive little girl could feel her mother's indifference and alienation. Sophia almost never took the initiative to accompany her daughter, rarely fed her, bathed her, or told her bedtime stories. All the daily care of Mia was undertaken by Ethan, who squeezed out time from his busy work, and the elderly neighbors who helped take care of the child. Little Mia often sat at the door of the house in the evening, waiting for her father to come home, but she could never wait for her mother's warm company. Chapter 3: The Collapse of Family and Malicious Lawsuit. The paper can't wrap fire. After more than a year of cheating and dissolute life, Sophia's scandal was finally exposed. A neighbor accidentally photographed Sophia kissing and hugging a strange man at a late-night party, and the photo was spread in the community parent group. Soon, all neighbors and friends knew Sophia's betrayal, and only Ethan was the last one to know the truth. When Ethan saw the photos and heard the discussions around him, his whole world collapsed completely. All his years of dedication, tolerance and hard work turned into a complete joke overnight. He never thought that his selfless dedication in exchange for his wife's thorough betrayal and family deception. Facing the exposed scandal, Sophia had no remorse or guilt. On the contrary, she became extremely irritable and selfish. She knew that Ethan would definitely choose to divorce, and she was determined to seize all the family's valuable assets and child custody before the divorce, so that she could continue her extravagant life without restrictions. In accordance with the Ohio family law and the U.S. Universal Child Custody Best Interest Principle, a core legal principle confirmed by many classic U.S. judicial precedents, such as matter of Grajales v. Trotman, in the divorce judgment of young children under 3 years old. American courts tend to award physical custody to the mother, by default in most cases, especially when the mother has stable economic income and no obvious criminal record. This legal precedent became the biggest reliance for Sophia's malicious lawsuit. Sophia took the initiative to file a divorce lawsuit against Ethan in the local family court. She fabricated false facts and accused Ethan of long-term emotional cold violence. She claimed in the lawsuit that Ethan's long-term early departure and late return made him unable to perform family obligations, lack of company with his wife and daughter, resulting in broken family emotions, and that Ethan's work state had caused serious psychological impact on the child. She put forward 3 extremely demanding litigation requests. First, the full ownership of the beauty salon. Second, the exclusive physical custody of 2-year-old Mia. Third, Ethan shall pay a monthly child support of $1,800 until Mia reaches the age of 18 and bear all the child's education and medical expenses alone. What's more cruel is that Sophia concealed her cheating and dissolute life in the court, and even beautified herself as a dedicated mother and independent female entrepreneur who struggled for her family. She took advantage of Ethan's honest and introverted character and his lack of experience in court litigation, and completely distorted the facts in front of the judge. Chapter 4. Unfair court judgment and broken life in the court trial. Ethan told all the truth sincerely. He invested all his life savings to open the salon for his wife. His long-term hard work was to support the whole family, and Sophia's long-term dereliction of family duty and cheating were the real reasons for family breakdown. He submitted bank savings transfer records and work attendance records as evidence, proving his years of dedication to the family. However, American family court judgment focuses on current child living stability and parental economic capacity, rather than the attribution of marital fault. According to the U.S. child custody legal standard summarized in Eschbach v. Eschbach precedent, the court's primary consideration is always the best interest of the minor child, and the marital dereliction of one party will not directly change the custody judgment result, unless it seriously endangers the child's physical and mental health. At that time, little Mia was only 2 years old, belonging to the typical tender years protected by American law. The court believed that young children need long-term and stable maternal care in the growth stage. In terms of economic conditions, Sophia had a profitable beauty salon as a stable income source on the surface, while Ethan's income was single and affected by working hours. Therefore, the court finally made an unfair judgment that violated the facts. First, the court awarded the physical custody of Mia to Sophia, believing that the mother's living environment was more suitable for the child's growth. Second, the beauty salon was judged as the wife's exclusive property, on the ground that the salon was operated in Sophia's name and had independent business income. Third, Ethan was required to pay $1,800 of child support every month, and could only have fixed visiting rights every month, with no right to interfere with the child's daily life and the salon's operation. This judgment completely crushed Ethan. He lost his family, his hard-earned savings investment, and the daily company right of his beloved daughter. He watched Sophia win all her demands with lies and malice, and walked out of the court triumphantly. At that moment, Ethan's heart was full of helplessness and pain, but he could only abide by the court's final judgment. After the divorce, Sophia completely revealed her true nature. She didn't have any maternal love and sense of responsibility at all. After getting the salon and Mia's custody, she still indulged in parties, luxury consumption, and various social activities all day long. She completely adopted a laissez-faire attitude towards little Mia, leaving the child alone at home for a long time, or entrusting her to unfamiliar hourly workers for care. Mia, who was only 2 years old, lost her father's careful care and could not get her mother's warmth. She became a lonely child who was ignored all day long. Sophia never accompanied her daughter to eat, study, or play. All her time and money were spent on maintaining her extravagant social life. She thought that as long as she had the salon's income, she could live a wealthy life forever. But Sophia never realized that the prosperity of the beauty salon had never come from her own ability, but entirely from Ethan's personal connections and word-of-mouth accumulation. After the divorce, Ethan completely cut off all his social and interpersonal connections with Sophia's salon. All the colleagues, neighbors, and friends who had supported the salon before knew Sophia's character and the truth of the divorce, and they all chose to no longer consume or recommend the salon. Without Ethan's customer resources and word-of-mouth endorsement, the salon's customer flow decreased sharply. The regular customers left one after another, and the new customer development was almost stagnant. Sophia had no business operation ability and no intention of managing the store carefully. She still neglected the store operation and indulged in pleasure. In just 1 year, the salon's profit dropped sharply from tens of thousands of dollars a month to meager income, and even began to lose money continuously. Chapter 5: 5 years of hard struggle and silent growth after the divorce. Ethan fell into the lowest trough of his life for a time, but his love for his daughter became his only motivation to persevere. He knew that the current unfair judgment was due to his insufficient economic strength and the child's young age. He made up his mind to work harder to earn money, accumulate strength, and wait for the opportunity to take back the custody of Mia and give her a healthy and wealthy growth environment. In the next 5 years, Ethan left the original familiar working environment, gave up the stable but low-income job, and went to the urban business district to engage in engineering project contracting business. He still maintained his steady, down-to-earth and sincere character, insisted on honest operation and serious work, and accumulated a large number of high-quality customer resources and industry reputation in the urban business circle. In 5 years, from an ordinary project coordinator, he grew into a successful engineering contractor with his own team and stable projects. His income increased exponentially, and he owned his own luxury car and high-end apartment. He never had extra indulgence and waste. All his income was saved and accumulated for Mia's future life and education, and the legal procedure of competing for custody. During these 5 years, Ethan never missed every fixed visiting time. No matter how busy his work was, he would accompany Mia carefully, buy her favorite toys and clothes, tell her stories, and take her out to play. He kept recording every detail of Mia's growth and every abnormal state of the child, under Sophia's care through photos, videos, and daily records. In contrast, Sophia's life went from bad to worse. With the continuous loss of salon customers and the deterioration of operation, her income decreased sharply, and she could no longer support her previous extravagant consumption. She was used to spending money freely and had no savings habit. She even owed a lot of consumer debts. In order to maintain her vanity, she once tried to rely on ambiguous relationships with men to obtain financial support, but all relationships were short-term and utilitarian. No one was willing to pay for her long-term extravagance. Gradually, her social circle abandoned her. Her friends left her, and the beauty salon was on the verge of bankruptcy due to long-term mismanagement. Her care for Mia became more perfunctory and indifferent. She often lost her temper with the child because of economic pressure, neglected the child's diet and daily life, and even failed to guarantee Mia's basic study and living expenses. Little Mia grew up in a cold and lack of love environment, becoming more sensitive and introverted day by day. Chapter 6. The Encounter of Fate and the Recovery of Justice. 5 years later, in the autumn of 2023, Ethan drove his luxury car back to the suburban community where he once lived. He was dressed in neat business clothes, calm and mature, with steady temperament and successful career bearing, completely getting rid of the dull and tired look 5 years ago. On the street of the community, he accidentally met Sophia. At this time, Sophia was completely different from the glamorous salon owner 5 years ago. Her clothes were old and messy, her face was haggard and pale without delicate makeup, and her figure was emaciated. The beauty salon had long been closed due to bankruptcy, and she was trapped in debt, wandering on the street all day, struggling to make ends meet. When Sophia saw the successful and wealthy Ethan, her face was full of shock, regret, and embarrassment. She never thought that the man she once despised and abandoned would achieve such great success in just 5 years, while she was reduced to a down and out situation. Ethan had no extra emotion of ridicule or hatred. He only felt heartache for his daughter's 5 years of neglected growth. He immediately entrusted a professional family law lawyer to file a custody modification lawsuit to the court, applying for taking back Mia's full custody right, on the ground that the child's living environment had fundamentally changed, and the mother's living state was no longer in line with the child's best interest. This lawsuit fully complied with the U.S. child custody modification legal standard. According to multiple authoritative precedents, such as matter of Weeks v. Martin. Weeks, when the party with custody has unstable income, bad living habits, long-term neglect of the child's physical and mental needs, and the other party has stable economic conditions, good living environment, and long-term positive accompanying records, the court shall modify the custody judgment in a timely manner to protect the child's growth rights and interests. In the court trial, Ethan submitted sufficient and complete evidence. 5 years of continuous visiting records, detailed photos and videos of accompanying his daughter, proof of his stable high income and high-quality living environment, as well as evidence of Sophia's salon bankruptcy, debt burden, long-term neglect of her daughter and bad extravagant living habits. After careful trial, the court clearly found that Sophia's current living state could not provide basic living guarantee and positive growth guidance for Mia, and long-term maternal neglect had caused adverse effects on the child's mental health. On the contrary, Ethan had stable career income, superior living conditions, persistent and positive family care awareness, and had always maintained deep love and responsibility for his daughter. Finally, the court made a fair modification judgment, revoke Sophia's custody of Mia, award the full physical and legal custody of the 7-year-old Mia to Ethan, and Sophia only has the right to visit regularly and no longer needs to bear the child support. Chapter 7. The Final Reversal of Fate and the Warm Ending. After regaining the custody of his daughter, Ethan devoted all his tenderness to Mia's growth. He arranged a high-quality private school for Mia, accompanied her to study and grow up carefully, took her to travel and exercise frequently, and made up for all the lack of family warmth in the past 5 years. Under her father's careful care, Mia's character gradually became cheerful and lively. She got rid of the shadow of childhood neglect, regained childlike innocence and vitality, and lived a stable, happy, and wealthy life. The father and daughter depend on each other and live a warm and fulfilling life. In contrast, Sophia completely lost all her possessions and family affection. She had no career, no savings, no fixed residence, and even lost the only spiritual sustenance of her daughter. She could only wander on the street, do temporary odd jobs to make a living, and bear all the bitter consequences brought by her vanity, selfishness, and indulgence alone. On every fixed visiting day, Sophia can only watch Mia's happy appearance from a distance, watching the warm and happy life of Ethan and her daughter, and falling into endless regret and self-blame. But all regrets can't reverse the past mistakes. Her greed and vanity ruined her perfect family and bright future with her own hands. Epilogue. The real reflection of American family social phenomenon, the story of the Cole family, is not an exaggerated fictional drama, but a true portrayal of countless ordinary middle-class family breakdowns in contemporary America. According to the statistical data of the American Family Law Association, more than 40% of American divorce cases involve one party's vanity consumption, emotional betrayal, and family dereliction of duty, and most young children's custody judgments are affected by the single best interest principle, resulting in many unfair initial judgments. At the same time, this story also reveals the most real operation rule of American grassroots, small and medium-sized service industries. Most community small businesses rely entirely on the operator's personal connections and reputation to maintain prosperity, rather than simple store operation. All seemingly accidental prosperity has invisible emotional and interpersonal foundations, and once the foundation collapses, the business will decline rapidly. Life has no repeated choices, and fate has fair rewards and punishments. Ethan's perseverance, sincerity, and responsibility finally brought him a happy life and warm family, while Sophia's vanity, selfishness, and indulgence finally led her to downfall and loneliness. This is the most straightforward truth hidden under the trivial family life. All the splendor without responsibility is illusory, and all the happiness gained by betrayal will eventually be completely destroyed by time.